Okay, now to bring it back to the surface, now it weighs more than the water. That's why, of course, they don't want to just sink to the bottom, so they would use the bow planes and the stern planes, and they would pump water out or into the ballast tanks to try to maintain neutral buoyancy, because a lot of times they were trying to, commanding officer would say, we want, take her down to 62 feet, where he could just have the top of the periscope out of the water, just enough to look around. So that green wheel controls the bow planes. When you go outside on the bow, like on this model, see the fins here? That controls the up or the down angle, which controls how quickly they can dive, at what angle. And there's actually an inclinometer there, kind of like a carpenter's level, and that wheel controls the stern planes, which are back here aft. And so between those, they can control how quickly they go down at what angle. To come back up, you use compressed air. This is the bank of compressed air controls. To blow, you put compressed air in, it blows that seawater back out to the ocean, lightens up the vessel, and it should come back.
So in that regard, one of the things they had to be conscious of is make sure they had it compressed before they dove, right?
If you go down without compressed air, you're in.
Compressed air so you can come back up.
Oop, I got the wrong one going here. We went up stern first. Okay. But so it's just changing buoyancy. Now,
Pretty sweet.
of course, that's super simplified. There were a number of different ballast tanks, and there's a trim station back here. That's those valves on the port side aft. That would allow them to pump water from one tank to the other. Say we were basically standing here listing, because one side of the vessel's heavier than the others. They could pump that water from the starboard tanks to the port tanks to maintain an even keel fore and aft, as well as port side and starboard. That's all I got.
So these wheels control the up and down, right? Okay, and these valves, they let the water into those tanks. Those valves over there push the water out, right? Okay, so now we can go this way. How do we go this way? We have what's called the helm. Okay, so up above us is the conning tower. Okay, and that's where most of the controls are. And there's a helm. It's like a giant steering wheel. In fact, what this gentleman's leaning against right here is actually the secondary helm. In case that room gets completely sealed off and it floods and we have to close it up, you'd come down and you'd use the secondary helm. This is just like the steering wheel on your car. It controls the left and right movement of the boat. So these are up and down, this is left and right. And so the guy that's here, he can see everything that's going on. He can see how fast they're going, he can see what the rudder's doing, how much of a turn he's making, and he can even see what the engines are doing and what he wants the engines to do. Based off of everything right here. He's even got a gyroscopic compass, and one there. He's got one right here, and he can actually see everything he needs to see right here. He does all of the steering without ever looking outside.
And I bet, being scouts, you know what this is and how to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, but in a steel vessel, wouldn't be much good, would it? It's going to point to metal. So, okay, if a magnetic compass is worthless, you have to have a gyro compass, which is what this big can is. And if you've ever played with gyros, I mean, basically you've got, a wheel turning at very high speed. And if you hold on to that and turn it, try to turn it, and just get a hold of it and try to turn it. And you can feel that it resists that. So this has, a high speed element rotating, and as the vessel would turn, that will continue in the same direction, so that, because it's not affected by metal or magnetism, it was actually the most advanced gyroscope in the world at that time.